Yes, we are live, my friends, we are live. I apologize for the delay. And we are looking at, I don't know what we're looking at. We're looking at a whole lot of debt for the decade. A lot of debt in the decade. That's the real thing to understand, folks, I think. By the way, if you're viewing on YouTube, check out the twitch.tv/smAsho and you'll see the screen share. Or perhaps check out the YouTube stream if you're on Twitch. See that conundrum? Anyway, we're looking at the sun on the screen share right now, but it's just for fun. It's not like a daily space weather video or anything like that. Drinking beer and talking about the decade. The decade of debt, it could be referred to as, right? I was reading my buddy some of these statistics. And let's just say it's been a pretty debt-filled decade. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on any of that. Happy New Year to everybody in the rest of the world where it's already 2020. How is the new decade treating you? Here's the map for those of you watching on Twitch. Again, I am screen sharing over there. So there's the decade line right now. As part of Canada has just stepped into 2020. And so we've decided to, instead of doing a recorded video of the YouTube, on YouTube of the Twitch live stream, we decided to do just a full screen live stream and drink various beverages, not all of which are alcoholic. And I can't really see the comments very well, so we're going to put up the YouTube comments in its own pop-out window momentarily here. Anyway, thanks everybody viewing on YouTube. Nice. Best New Year in a decade. Well done. Yeah, you know, the U.S., when the U.S. entered the 2010s, the U.S. Was just coming out of a massive financial crisis, you know, the little depression or the Great Recession or whatever you'd like to call it. And that's back when around when silver prices were at $50 an ounce, let's just say. So with respect to inflation and stuff, the dollar was much better off. I mean, is much better off than it was back then. But the stock market is heavily inflated. I mean, if you look at the S&P, it's insane. But anyway, let me go to the live stream here so I can get the chat up on the screen. Yeah, all right, here we go. And we're creating a feedback loop of death. We've created a deadly quantum chamber. As I've now got a camera running, and oh man. Yeah, we've got a camera running, and the background looks good though. Okay, excellent. I'm not filming any parts of the room that I don't want folks to see. Cheers. By the way, also on Twitch, there's an intentional 20-second delay, I believe. So, in any case, again, happy 2020, everybody who views the channel, who's already in the next decade. Holla. And I'll just bring out the pop-out chat here, and then this will be just its own window. So, welcome Terrence and Eden and everybody else viewing on YouTube. By the way, oh, Terrence, that reminds me. I do have a resolution. My resolution is to be a less terrible bike mechanic, as I have practically zero bikes that don't need work done on them. So in any case, Terrence, check this out. I still don't have a coffee grinder, right? I haven't just gotten around to buying like the right kind yet. I saw some at Walmart and I was like, I'm not buying that. So I decided to grind up just one morning coffee's worth in a mortar and pestle. And I think that's why my neck feels so jacked. My neck is like shattered. I don't know what I did. I feel like I have to do some like major back stretches. I think it's from grinding up the coffee using a mortar and pestle. Not recommended, folks. Anyway, the countdown to New Year where I am is only 21 minutes. And see, we're normally asleep at this time of day, as my hours are, let's just say they're kind of weird. As I'm sure if you're viewing the videos, you're aware of our strange hours. Let's get better screen shares. Anyway, there's 48 hours of the sun. Are the cosmic rays harming you, or are they causing you to evolve into a new life form? I'm not being facetious, by the way. I mean, everybody is constantly evolving into a new life form. You must realize this, right? It's if you don't like yourself, just wait about 40 days. You'll have nearly all new cells. They all have to form based on the environment in which they reside, right? Let's talk about more interesting stats. How about the top 10s of the decade? Anybody? Anybody? What are your, does anybody have a top 10 list? Play another track here for you. This one's called Conclusivity. By the way, naming tracks is harder than making them. I don't know if you're aware. If you notice that my tracks have science-based names, there's a reason. Anyway, how about the top 10 quotes? I see Vladimir Putin. John McCain makes a U-turn. He never considered himself a maverick. Did you know? I had no idea. I don't follow stuff like that. How about top 10 tweets? What do I got to click through a list? Oh my, clickbait. Hey, time clickbaited us. These cannot be the top 10 quotes. This is a big effing deal about the healthcare bill. Hayward apologizes. Let me read you some of these quotes. Let me read you some of these stats of the decade. Just of 2019 largely. Were you aware that within the last 365 days there have been approximately 37,000 earthquakes over a 1.5 magnitude? Just in the US, were you aware? Of course, we don't cover those on the channel typically. So anyway, I don't know who Hayward is or why this is in Times quotes either. He wants his life back. George Bush really cares about Kanye. I was worried. I mean, you were worried about that, right? I was very concerned that Bush was gonna be aloof toward Kanye. I mean, that would be so sad, folks. Oh, thank goodness Bush really cares about Kanye. I was very concerned. By the way, here's a countdown. It's We're only 17 minutes from a new decade where I'm located. Let's get back to the list. Hey everybody, George Bush really cares about Kanye. Oh, right. Because Kanye said George Bush doesn't care about black people as a result of the Hurricane Katrina, right? All right, let me get to these comments real quick. Perhaps I'll read some quotes from our viewers. We've been having some great tinfoil comments in the comments section. By the way, folks, seriously, check out the comments section of the latest space weather videos. There are some good ones. So anybody else have a New Year's resolution? I'll be okay, Eden. A little bit of exercise and stretching, and it'll be just fine. All right, drinking the cheap beer until midnight, and then no champagne this year. No champagne, folks. I think smAsho staff's gonna have an electrolyte beverage. We loaded up on pasta. I went to sleep extra early to do the stream, so we're gonna be cracking this at midnight. The 1664 Kronenberg Blanc. And I think she's going to be just drinking an electrolyte beverage because I think she's shattered, folks. No, she's just not used to getting up at this time, and we ate a bunch of pasta, and it was good, but I engineered a carb crash on myself on purpose. So anyway, George Bush really cares about Kanye. Very important quote. Thank you, Time Magazine. Papal apology. The greatest person of the church doesn't come from enemies on the outside, but is born from the sin within the church. I think that is a good quote. What do you say? Obama can't spend all his time with his birth certificate plastered on his forehead. Hey, thanks everybody for leaving comments. And how about, don't put your hands on me. If you touch my junk, I'll have you arrested, by John Tyner, software engineer, during a TSA argument. That's fun, right? I think my camera needs... I'm going to knock the light over if I move the... Son of a... All right, whatever. Anyway, my neck is shattered. How do you like them apples? Let's look at the countdown. We're only 13 minutes away, folks. We were just 13:37. So, screenshot moment for all you gamers out there. It was just 13:37 until New Year's. It's a new decade. What are your predictions of what shall happen? Anyway, I don't remember that quote. I'm sure there's better quotes. Let's see what else. Hawking shocks with predictable statement. Spontaneous creation is the reason there is something rather than nothing. Why the universe exists, why we exist, it's not necessary to invoke God to set the universe going. Wow. Be still my heart, Stephen. Brett Favre says, play, don't play, God, I mean, bus cook. Bus cook? All right, these quotes suck. Let me switch to a different tab. Let's talk about the U.S. timeline for the 2010s. By the way, this is completely unvetted, and if you'd like links, they are not in the description. Again, if you want to see what I'm looking at, head to twitch.tv/smAshomash. I'll leave it on the screen. I'd have to say there's going to be a severe economic correction, right? It's like When the stock market is as overinflated as it is, how is it going to go any place but down? The Fed keeps injecting money. They're going to get to the point where they have a crisis with the dollar again, and it's you're going to see gold and silver prices skyrocket first, I guess. By the way, if you're not aware, some folks seem to think silver is highly undervalued. Now, I was telling people to buy silver in November and December of 2018 when it was less than 14 bucks an ounce, but it's still actually a good purchase, as it was about 50 bucks an ounce during the last financial crisis. I'm not sure if you're aware, and I'm not trying to inflate the prices of silver. I could care less. I'm just speaking from experience and the way commodities work. The nice thing about silver is that it's useful. It's useful as all kinds of things besides just as money, right? Or as you could, as a speculative investment, however you want to cut it. Texas Rancher says, "Where do I see myself in a year? I don't know. I don't have 20/20 vision." Ah, interesting. Ah, good one. And that's a good point, as I've suggested that it shall be the year of clarity, right? If it's 20/20 vision, I think a lot of the stuff out there, you don't want to know what's going on with it. It's yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're expecting a massive uptick in food prices. And since nobody else decided to talk about it, I actually work in the food supply chain. So our company does lab testing, and I do field management. And I won't divulge who the company is, but we noticed downsizing of various local operations. And we're not in a spot that was hit particularly hard by any kind of crop damage and all that stuff. The crop damage across the U.S. has actually, caused... The crop damage in the U.S. hasn't caused worldwide crop damage, but there's all kinds of issues going on, where Australia is now a net importer of grains, and China has just recently licensed new GMO soybeans. What do you think of that? But there's all kinds of stuff. And Terrence says we'll have a solar flare by 2026, and that'll knock out a lot of the worldwide herd. All right. Thinker says, even though I celebrate New Year in spring, as it is written in the Bible, I want to wish you guys a nice Gregorian New Year's Eve. Made 2020 to be a blessing. Cheers. It's getting close, folks. Only 8 minutes until New Year's. Now, Terrence, you're on Central Time, right? Shout out to Neil Thompson if you're watching. I think it's already 2020 in your Eastern Canadian location. What else happened in the 2010s, folks? Let me read you some more interesting stats from this list. Now, everybody complained, including me, about George W. Bush doubling the national debt. I believe in his about 6 years in, he doubled the national debt, creating the Department of Homeland Security and so on, which I'm not a huge fan of. Check it out. Global stocks have increased in value more than $25 trillion over the past year. Huh? And how about this one? Did I read this already? I don't think I read this. According to a Gallup poll that was just released, Obama and Trump came in tied for the most admired man in America. The most admired man in America, tied between Donald Trump and Barack Obama, according to a Gallup poll. They both got 18%, and nobody else had more than 2%. What say you on that one? That's man, oh man. That's an interesting stat, right? How about This sounds like a Bernie Sanders quote. Check it out. 84% of stocks in the U.S. are owned by the wealthiest 10%. Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe because multi-billion-dollar corporations have controlling shareholders who are the executives of the companies. I don't know. Ask Sundar Pichai. I'm not sure. By the way, thanks for viewing everybody on Twitch. Anybody who's there, seeing the screen share. Not that I have anything exciting. I mean, although again, Happy New Year to everybody who's Happy New Year, everybody who's already had New Year. Again, how is the new decade treating you so far? Anyway, there's the timeline. As we're nearly 5 minutes away from a new decade where I'm located. It's totally insane. I can barely believe it's 2000. And now I've severely dated myself. Please leave a comment if you found yourself severely dated. I saw a guy one time on a bike ride, and he said, "Man, you've aged." And I was like, dude, the alternative was grim. Let's play some more original tracks. Some people don't seem to like them. And it looks like we might have lost Twitch for a moment. I think we are still streaming. All right, cool. I can be in this camera and I'm like out of this camera. I apologize. I need a crazy apparatus. So what's this I hear? More New Year's resolutions? Brett says decades ago he resolved to never make a resolution. All right, that's sound. National debt is a joke. Kalo Jan, how do you think I feel about Trump? That's what I want to know. I don't understand what way you think I see Trump. I don't talk about Trump. Yeah, man, this guy's like 65 years old and he's telling me I've aged. It's like, dude, cut me a break. I should have said I'm going to go uphill faster than you, but it wasn't the right day to say that, as I didn't go uphill much faster than him. Cheers. Anyway, we're only 4 minutes away from New Year, folks. What are you going to do? Are you going to go outside and jump up and down? Are you going to fire some sort of projectiles into the air? Are you going to fly a drone up to get a nice panning shot of everybody's fireworks and hope the drone doesn't become a casualty of a ground-fired missile? Anyway, everybody, thanks for all the views and so on. I'm not going to be sitting here in front of the camera exactly at New Year, but we will be right around that time frame. You may not know. I could vanish. I could vanish, folks. What else happened in 2013? All kinds of stuff with the Affordable Care Act. What are your thoughts on the Affordable Care Act, folks? Kalo Jan, in any case, I'm not anti-Trump. It's just that Trump has certain policies that are jacked up, such as overspending, kind of standard government overspending going on there. So that's the main issue. I mean, I don't give a crap about all the bad stuff he says. I'm not really too concerned about that. And I'm not anti-Trump or pro-Trump, but I'll tell you what, I was not pro-Trump in the primaries because I saw people in the primaries that are conservatives. And I mean fiscal conservatives. I apologize, those of you viewing on Twitch, as I'm pulling up a bunch of tracks. We have terrible visuals going on. People are looking at a file. I apologize for the file folder. And we're only 1 minute from New Year. Happy New Year, folks. There's a delay on Twitch. I'll be back momentarily. Cheers. Drink them if you got them. I'll be back momentarily. Thanks again, everybody. Holla. I'm only here for a volume increase, folks. If you don't like the track, just press mute. I'll be back. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the new decade. It's crazy. Can you believe it's 2020? It's mind-boggling. By the way, the name of this track is Classified. And if that makes you think I work for the CIA, then and if you're wondering what the lapel pin is, it's the American Cancer Society. I know, super controversial. It's no wonder YouTube steers traffic away from the channel. It's like, it must be because it's so controversial. And we're nearly 5 minutes into the next year. Jeez, oh whiz, it's insane. We were going to have our own ball, and we didn't get a ball, so sorry. It required batteries. I have a battery-operated color-changing LED light bulb that I was going to have, but screw that. It's, So what's that? People got resolutions? I got a resolution that I can't be wearing these kind of clothes because it's going to be working on freaking bicycles. I have to put a wrench. I got to put a wrench to a bike, like a lot, because I have like my bikes that work do not outnumber my bikes that don't. Let's just say that. It's a secret as to how. Yeah, Carlo Jan, I don't care about any of Trump's tweets or any kind of rough language. Trump doesn't talk about doing stuff like eating the babies of his opponents and things like that. And you got to realize he's been attacked through the New York real estate businesses for decades to the tune of billions of dollars. So it's that's the reason why that's the reason why nothing sticks, because if anything would stick, he wouldn't be able to be in the position that he was real estate wise. So it's just ridiculous. Everybody's been after him for decades for various reasons. They've been slighted because of this, they've been slighted because of that. And it's all complete nonsense. I'm used to haters. I started bike racing in 1997, and the haters come out of the woodwork from day one. I mean, the first bike race I did, I got accused of sandbagging by an official. I'm like, dude, it was the first bike race I've ever done in my life. Is that okay? So, you know, that's what happens. You show up out of nowhere, you end up on the podium, and people lose their minds. And that's part of the problem with Trump in politics. People thought it was their turn, like Jeb and Hillary. And it turns out it wasn't their turn. So, sorry, I like the Electoral College. If anybody's wondering if I like the Electoral College, the answer is I like the Electoral College. Eden, you now have a studio? That's amazing. That's great stuff. Congratulations on that. What does happen when there's lots of drones around is you don't fly aircraft in those areas unless they're capable of running over drones. and most aren't. They don't like chopping up small bits of stuff with various moving device. Oh no, we're losing out on Twitch again, I think. And man, we're gonna keep streaming for a minute here. I'll play another track. How about, I have no idea. Lost Luggage virtual EP number 5. I don't know what track it even is. It's anybody's guess. And oh geez. And I am trying to read the comments, by the way. It's very difficult. I have to have one thing on the screen and then it's like, oh my gosh. Oh, here, let's play some real weird stuff. That's what's up. By the way, check out the original music. And again, welcome to 2020. We're going to stream for another few minutes, folks. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let's get back to the comments. All right, and I've finally gotten to the bottom of the comments. And I'm not going to read any more stats. I am going to show some more graphics to everybody viewing on the screen share. Yes, it's encouragement. And by the way, I can do screen shares to YouTube nowadays, believe it or not. So perhaps we will post clips. I'm not exactly sure. I was supposed to be showing more images of the local yellow dwarf. By the way, my initials are DJN, and I'd like to say Happy New Year to you YouTube nabs, as well as you Twitch nabs. Twitch nabs, YouTube nabs, install Wolfenstein Enemy Territory on your computers. You don't need to have a fast computer. It's only about a 300 megabyte download. You download that in like 5 seconds and come play one of the still active games from the mid 2000s, around 2005, 2006. I was going to move this camera around YouTube, but it was a bit of a struggle. And by the way, thanks everybody for a delightful year. It was super interesting. Thanks for all the interactions in all of the places, which was one of the defining characteristics of 2019. If you want to know how many miles I rode on the bike, I might divulge that, but I doubt it. As I don't even know myself how many miles I rode, and I know some rides were messed up by GPS errors, and I'll definitely show you some of the GPS errors at a later time. Remind me about that, as I had bike rides with average speeds of like 6,000 miles per hour. I don't know if you're aware, but I have GPS data that proves it. So if you think I'm lying. So yeah, happy New Year, everybody. What a crazy year 2019 was. What about all the scientific discoveries? How about the new tools in the cosmic toolbox? What do you think of that? The effect of polarization causing objects to clump together in the absence of gravity. How about that one? the alleged first images of a black hole, which we try to always refer to as a massive radio source. If you're wondering what we're looking at on the Twitch screen share, by the way, it's the local yellow dwarf at 171 angstroms. And it's 48 hours worth of that activity here. And is the SDO into the new year? Indeed, it says 2020 on the SDO, yes. And it better, as we're a little over 5 hours in. What else has anybody to say on the chat? Oh, Mr. Keebler, did you just tune in? The 2020 beverage is the Kronenbourg 1664 Blanc. It's a wit beer in the Belgian style. It's a Belgian style wheat beer. I believe it's filtered, although it does look a little cloudy on pour. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't worry about it that much. I think it's filtered. But it is tasty. It's got a bit of a hint of lemon in there, and yeah, highly recommend it if you can find it. It's imported by Killian's company, so if you have a beer distributor that carries things like Killian's Red, you can probably find, you might be able to find, or you might be able to special order the Kronenbourg 1664 Blanc. And it's not from 1664, that's just what it's called. Yeah. Thinker wants to know what's spewing out X-rays in Orion's belt. Wasn't sure on that one. And hey, we can go look at transients, although we won't find. If you can name the X-ray source, Thinker. If you can name the X-ray source, we'll look at the transients. As, by the way, I have a tab for that. So Terrence, what's the deal? You're on Central Time, right? Not New Year's yet in Illinois. Hey, let's break out some value-added services. How is the weather over the U.S.? First thing in the morning. It looks like some snow is hitting Pennsylvania. It could be snowing in a couple hours where I am, actually. The temperature suddenly dropped and the wind kicked up. Shout out to Ted! Holla. Let us know if fireworks are legal in your state. Fireworks recently became legal in Pennsylvania, and people are liberally applying their right to operate the fireworks. You can buy professional level stuff in PA now. It's good times. And we are at a 53-second delay. Holy crow. All right, we're going to end this thing a little early. We're going to go to 12:30, but let's just end this now. And I don't see any X-rays coming out of Orion, but cheers, everybody. Happy New Year. Thanks for all of the interactions in 2020 already, much less in 2019. And look for lots of different things and oddities. look for all kinds of things happening that you may not have expected to happen. So, yeah, Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon. We'll be having a space weather video coming out. And there could be a new format. There could be an old format. There could be no format. And it's all a secret. You'll have to wait to see what happens. And remember, when you're in a new decade, don't drink it if you drink. And I am. Not heavily, though. Stay hydrated if you do. And since it'll never be now again, Happy New Year.